I'm now being joined by Dr. Simeon Amadi, Executive Director, Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. Dr. Amadi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Sorry, my light went off.
I was just about to ask you, did the grid fail in your neck of the woods?
It's back. I'm back.
Okay. All right.
I'm back.
Dr. Amadi, it's River State again. I mean, INEC is about to go ahead to fill 2 vacant seats owing to the resignation of Edison Ahie and the passing away of one former lawmaker. But 3 other lawmakers are yet to resume. What's going on? What do you think is happening?
Well, again, I think there's a lot of lack of clarity in the procedure, the timing of all these things. First, when INEC gets a notice, then it triggers a procedure for within a period of time, stipulated by the Constitution, for a by-election. But what happens oftentimes is that INEC needs to receive from the Speaker of the House the notification of the occurrence of a vacancy that requires a by-election. The timelines end to end, sometimes there's a gap in the Constitution provides for by-election, the law provides for by-election, the Electoral Act provides for by-election. But again, the actions that triggered it require somebody to notify who, and oftentimes that doesn't happen. For example, in the case of the other lawmakers who are supporters of Fubara, their legal authorization is the Supreme Court. It's kind of generally saying everybody should return to status quo, nullifying whether this the supposed defection of the PDP senators who wicked senators. So, and everybody else, and those who have been seemingly expelled or declared vacant by the Speaker pro-wicked group. So the Supreme Court says nullified, everybody go back, 31 lawmakers return back. But then that decision has to be facilitated under the law. The Speaker has to notify the INEC of vacancy arising from, and if there's no vacancy, recall. So what those other 3 is recall back to their work, not INEC. At this point, INEC has no role to play. Again, this is not peculiar to Nigerian. We saw with the US Congress, elected woman, who the Speaker delayed for long, not allowed the Congress to take her seat and represent her people. She has to go to court and several remedies until the Speaker, decided to, schedule her swearing in and social of duty. So those politics, the parliamentary politics, the procedural politics, the management of procedure by the Speaker and different actors creates this kind of, inconvenience and violation, seeming violation of the Constitution. Because again,
Dr. Amadi, if I may just come in here. Yeah. So I do know that there was a time, this was in the Senate, if I remember correctly, where an individual, the Supreme Court had declared that senator a winner, but the Senate president refused to swear the person in until after a long time. Eventually, that happened. I mean, even Natasha Kpoti also went through the same process as well. But what I'm saying is, in this case in River State, where the State Assembly declared their 3 seats that they've been away from the office for over 150 days, declared their 3 seats vacant. The Speaker hasn't written to INEC about their 3 seats being vacant. But the question is it possible that the leadership of the House did not even recall them and then reach out to them to resume work?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For example, this is politics. Again, the Supreme Court says everybody should be in. So you record them. You have expelled them illegally, so to say. You record them. But if you don't record them, then you can't talk about their absence. Now, again, if they've been recalled and for whatever reason they absent themselves up to the number of days in which they are deemed to have abandoned their legislative duty, then the Speaker again has to write to INEC to say, we declare vacant today. The INEC has a timeline within which to conduct a by-election. So like you pointed out, we saw that in many cases. We saw that even in the 6th and 7th Senate, a case of Ben Obi, where he won the court. You need to use both transaction. You go to court, then you go back to lobby the Senate president to schedule you. Jajari of Cross River, happened more recently. At a point, it contemplated going to court again to enforce it, and then they have to lobby the Senate. So this gatekeeping requires that the actors, the gatekeepers, the speaker, the Senate president, each of them commit to doing what the law says, but they don't do that. Oftentimes, you see that there are inconsistency, and in this case, maybe flagrant violation of the law. So those other three or so as legislators who were declared vacant or absconding or not doing their job and therefore foreclosed, the Supreme Court seemed to have brought back. Somebody ought to have interpreted that law and said, okay, either recall them, or if they don't want to be recalled for whatever reason, then we declare vacant to provide representation, either no longer available or no longer legally qualified to sit as legislators. So in either case, you are violating the right of the legislators themselves who are elected, who ought to take their seat, who ought to be seated, as we say, or you are violating the right of the constituency that ought to have representation, equal representation, and therefore this is discriminatory as well as violating the law. So
okay,
I
Dr.
think
Amadi,
this.
let me budge in here because we're running out of time. And let's see if we can answer this one question. Let's leave the State Assembly first and go to the situation in the party in Rivers State. Now, the APC has, the governor has moved to the APC. The entire assembly, 27 members, apart from those three, are in the APC. And there was that matter of who is the leader of the party. And the presidency, or rather the leadership of the APC, has somewhat spoken, declaring Fubara the number one member of the APC in Rivers State. Do you think this is grounds to settle this rift that seems to not bother about party status or membership?
It's not a ground for settlement because, again, the dispute did not arise from party membership. These guys were already feuding before they all went to APC. First, the legislators, now Fubara. So they belong to the same party, but they're still feuding. So because the dispute relates to their personal transaction. The agreement they had, the Wike group and the Gov about who controls seven, the legislators, one as the leader. But this is not a party dispute. And therefore, if it's a dispute around party, the party settles it. And that makes it odd that people of the same party are fighting to finish. And therefore,
Dr. Amadi, I do apologize, Dr. Amadi. It looks like the network's not letting us hear you. Your audio is really, really crappy, and we've already lost your picture. But I want to thank you so much for coming in today and for sharing your thoughts with us. We really do appreciate you. Dr. Sam Amadi, Executive Director, Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. Thank you for speaking with us this evening.